Hi, folks. Welcome to Your World with Prakash Kapila. It's been a long 1 month of lockdown, and therefore we couldn't record anything and not be in front of you. But right now, we are doing this video at my home. Welcome to my home, and welcome to Your World with Prakash Kapila. So, this 1 month, a lot of things have happened when we took the lockdown, it was more like we were in just thousands, but the thousands in a number of cases. But right now, the number of fatalities, number of cases have increased tremendously, and each of these countries have fared. Almost every country has not fared that great, and particularly America, which was supposed to be the first developed country that would come out of the virus, is still in grips of this virus. And of course, so what are we going to talk about is this thing. First is the what is this coronavirus? We go into the detail. Why do we need to really understand this coronavirus? Because if you understand your problem, only then you can come out of that problem. So the first thing first, we got to understand what the problem is, and then we got to understand how to. Only if you understand how what the problem is, we'll be able to really be in a position to overcome the odds of this problem. The second thing we're going to talk about is the stock market, how the stock market has fared since then. What is stock market telling about the virus, and also about we'll talk about the aftermath of this virus to China. What's the globalization going to look like? And we talk about few industries that have been hit very hard in this coronavirus, and how to overcome them. What are they doing? What are few successful industries, companies are doing that are hit very hard by this coronavirus, but are still able to survive and adapt in this particular scenario. So off we go. So let's first understand what is this coronavirus. Okay, what is a virus? A virus is basically a non-living thing. So just like you see a dust, you see some rock, so you see some thing that doesn't have any life. Virus does not have a life. Okay, so it's like a dust. It's like a dust particle. It's a chemical, right? So chemical gets evaporated over a period of time. So so if the virus is there with you, within your vicinity, over a period of time, it has to evaporate. So it will only evaporate if there is a lot of heat. We'll go into the details about the different aspects of this virus. So first thing we need to know, what are the things we need to know? Virus is not a living thing. It does not, it does not die by itself. There is no birth, therefore there is no death. So you have to live with this coronavirus, and it gets transformed from one thing to other. So the only way you can make this corona go away is by evaporating the virus, evaporating the protein in that virus. So what is this virus all about? So if it is not if it is not a living thing, why is it affecting so many people, right? That's the other thing that you want to that we have to understand. So this virus, actually, people understood about this virus long before. I mean, the cold and cough, fever, all those things existed for centuries. So people did understand what this cold is, what this cough is, why we are getting this fever. Fever is a flu, right? All these things existed even before the science could understand what it is. So in 1934, people actually were able to break the virus. see what exactly is this virus. So then they figured out that it's a non-living thing, but once it goes and attacks the cell, once a virus goes and attaches to the cell, it becomes more and more. It just multiplies itself. So even though it is non-living thing, it multiplies itself. How you may ask, how is it possible? Yeah, so many, like atom bomb is also a non-living thing. It multiplies by itself. The fusion reactor is also a non-living thing. It multiplies by itself. So just because something is multiplying by itself, something is traveling on air, doesn't mean that it is a living thing. So that there is a difference of that. So during 1935, the scientists have discovered something called RNA and DNA. So DNA, most of the living things have this DNA, whereas RNA is a composition of a biochemical kind of molecules that will have different. A molecule is actually a combination of elements, right? So you can have small molecules, you can have large molecules. So RNA is ribonucleic acid, right? So this ribonucleic acid is what is there for the non-living things. So this ribonucleic acid is called something called guanine, thymine. Even I am not a science guy, but I am trying to pronounce it. So guanine, thymine, adenine, all those things are there. Just like building components of just like, for a home you're building bricks, right? There are bricks, there is cement and all those things. So also for virus you have the molecule, and there is a component called proteins. So the virus has got proteins that cover itself. So if this is virus, right, so the proteins cover this virus like this. So there are many number of proteins that are there in this virus. So the virus is covered by these proteins that protect the virus. Remember, I told you that virus can be eradicated by evaporating it or by cleaning it away from the regular things that we touch. So this is, assume that this is virus. Assume that this is virus. Now the protein is one that is enclosing this virus like this. So this protein will, when it comes into contact with assume this is your human body. So when this protein comes and contacts the human body, human cell, it just goes like this and binds it to the cell and then multiplies. So each finger now each finger is become another virus. So like that it multiplies over and over. How it uses the cells uh, ability, the cell membrane itself, and then multiplies over it. To give you a fact, right? So how big should be this virus to actually hit our cell, right? You may be thinking it is much bigger than the cell, but it's not. It is like 70 times smaller than a cell. So it is like a 10 micron, 7 microns, whereas your 0.007 microns, whereas your red cell means, if you any blood cell, you can think about it as red cell, because if a blood is coming, it's red blood cells. Okay, there is white blood cell, but there are many red blood cells. You won't see white blood cells, you will see more red blood cells. So if you see a small cell of the blood is the red blood cell. That is 70 times more in size than a coronavirus. So imagine yourself, if you are like 6 feet tall. So this red blood cell is like 350 feet tall, 70 times, right? If you are 5 feet, 7 5 35, so 350. So 350 to 360 feet tall. So that is like, if a normal human being goes in front of some 10-story building, how big that building is, that is red blood cell. If you are a virus, you are going to that red blood cell, then the red blood cell is like 10 florid building or 7 florid building, 350 feet. You are like 5 feet, it is like 350 feet. If you are a virus and you are a 5 feet, then the red blood cell will be like 7-story building. It's that huge, right? So the virus is very, very, very small compared to your red blood cell. But what happens is it comes into this red blood cell as a very tiny particle, and then it becomes multiplies and multiplies and multiplies, and therefore it will take, as soon as you get the virus, therefore it will take anywhere between 14 days for you to identify that something has gone wrong, because it is multiplying over a period over like that. Therefore it has gone so big that it is huge in quantity. So where does this cell? As you see, you can in the slides you will see that each of the cell is having lot of other proteins that make up the cell. So this is going to attack your body. This is going to attack your lungs. And how does it go? So if the cell goes into your stomach, right? If it goes from here to your stomach, then you are safe. The virus cannot do anything. Only thing is the virus goes from your nose or your mouth or your eyes, not ears, eyes. From ear, there is no connectivity to your lungs. Only from nose and your mouth and your eye membrane, there is connectivity to your lungs. This virus is only very dangerous if it goes to your lungs and multiplies there. So that you all know, you might have known by now that. So this virus is a RNA molecule. This RNA molecule is a non-living thing. So if you don't clean the premises, if you don't clean the stuff that you are going to then get from outside or wherever, then you are going to be susceptible to this virus. The other one is you have to cover your nose and mouth. Of course, at home when you're with your family, you don't have to cover. But when you go out, when you're meeting new person, at least maintain 6 feet distance, so that even if they have virus, you don't have virus, they have virus, still you won't get it, right? So that's why that 6 feet distance is there. So this RNA molecule, as I showed you, is changing over a period of time, right? It's not same. So what molecule was there in China, the same thing is not there in Australia. The same thing is not there in Germany, Italy, France, United States. So in all of these places, it is transforming from one thing to the other, even though it is not a living creature, it is transforming. How is it possible? It is possible because a water can become ice or it can become air, water vapor. So even though the water is not a living or living thing, it is still able to transform. In the same way, the coronavirus, in spite of not being a living organism, it is still transforming into multiple things that are there. So like some 15 16 proteins are being developed by it. So with each combination of those proteins, it is changing. NSP1 and all those things are there. It's very technically, we don't need to know that much of technical things, but we can just know that it has got some 10 or 15 proteins, and it is changing. It is changing very rapidly. So that is the reason why a vaccine is very difficult for it. It is not, vaccine is difficult for any virus. So no, it's not because it's only changing. It's changing at a very slow pace. The virus space is very fast. So the virus is changing from one entity to other entity, like 200 times it is changing. So a virus that was there identified in October 2019 has changed over a period of time. How many changes have happened? Around 200 different changes have happened. Different kinds of viruses have come. So assume like one tree is giving one grass is giving another grasses, right? If you have a lawn in your this thing, so if water is poured on the lawn becomes more and more, right? Each of these grasses come out. They are different. They are a different entity. We call them as different entities. So like that, coronavirus has also got around 200 different entities. That's what we call it as mutations. So a vaccine that comes in now is to make sure that all those 200 mutations, all those different viruses, entities, the same virus, coronavirus entities, there which are 200, should be able to be eliminated. For flu, it is much more. So, from comparison to flu, coronavirus mutations are very less, but there are there. So, therefore, one guy gets coronavirus is not same as some other guy getting coronavirus. The nature of the virus changes according to the person who is nature of the virus changes over a period of time. So we are all called hosts. If anybody gets virus, they are called host. So this virus is going into the host, and then from one host to another host it goes and it changes. It may change or it may not change, but it is usually having these mutations. And like you see in one of the screens, I have shown you all the different all the different levels of the viruses changes. So virus by itself has got these little graph kind of thing where you have all these weird structures. They're all proteins of this virus. So this virus has got a lot of proteins that are covering that virus so that it doesn't get evaporated. So these proteins, once they go into this body, they get once they go into these lungs. From here, it goes to the lungs. Then that's a problem. So from here, it goes and stays here for like uh, 4 to 5 days. It multiply. It keeps on multiplying near your throat, and then it goes into your lungs. So in when the virus is here, if you keep on drinking hot liquids, right? So then the virus will go to your stomach. Then it's not a dangerous at all. So what did doctors say? To be safe, what you should do? Think of your hands as your enemies. Okay, the palm is your enemy because this has got lot of attraction power. See, if you rub your palm like this, you would see that there is some energy going in this. So your palm has got energy where it attracts things. So for example, if I'm touching anything, I'm touching say I'm touching uh, any of these things, solid things. What happens if the corona is there? It easily gets attracted to your hand, and once it gets attracted to your hand, you take your hand and rub near your nose or mouth. Then there is a chance. Then it can go into you. So that is why this is single point of failure. Your hand is the single point of failure to the coronavirus. So don't touch your hand wherever you don't feel comfortable. Okay, don't touch cardboards. Don't when you touch, you rub your hand. You wash your hands on a regular basis. That is one number one. The number two is don't touch your nose or mouth with your hand. That is the reason, right? You should not touch your mouth or nose with your hand. And if you want to do something, then you can do like this, right? So that will enable. That in fact worked in Germany. All right, so this is not a some uh, hearsay evidence, hearsay stuff. It's more like they enabled what how Germany survived this coronavirus. It has got, it's very close to Italy, it's very close to France, but still the death rate is not that much. So what did they do? They took these precautions very early. So a lot of people, they are not they are wearing gloves when they go to the offices, and they're not touching the door handles. So a lot of people are put in place to clean the door handles and all this. So if they have to open the door handles, they are using the elbows, right? And if they have to touch the face, they are using the elbows, they are using the sleeves. Nothing of face, right? Nothing of palm, only sleeves and all those. That they have got trained on that, and therefore they are not they have been able to successfully prevent it. So is Sweden, right? Sweden and Germany, if you have time, find out what they are doing, how they are doing, and try to emulate the same thing, because it is your responsibility, it is your health. You can save it. You can you cannot you can be aware of coronavirus, and you can save yourself. If you save yourself, you are saving the country. Okay, so save yourself. Use masks when you go out. Don't use your palm, and don't touch your face with your palm, because your palm is having lot of energy, and it is attracting lot of dust particles. As we see, the easiest way to check this out is you rub palm like this, right? You rub it like this, then you will feel the energy going around. So your palm has a lot of energy. All right. That's one more thing. So this ribonucleic acid is made of the GATC. That GATC, that's what they call the elements, and these elements repeat themselves over there is a sequence which you can see in the PowerPoint. There is a sequence, GATC sequence. That GATC sequence gets repeated like G, A, T, 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 like that. It will repeat. So based on that repetition, the um, component of the molecule changes. So what you need to do, you need to understand that this is like a dust particle. So you have to clean the dust particles before you use anything. So any cardboard stuff you have, you go to any grocery store, get anything of packaged material, you rub it with some soap water, and then leave it there for like one day, and then use it. So then you are safe. If you take precautions, you are safe. You don't need vaccine to be safe. You can use your brain. You can change your habits, and you can be safe. Agreed. So many people in New York have got virus. So many people in New Jersey have got virus, but there are still so many people who have not got virus. So there is a way to survive this virus, and that is to change your habits. Don't touch your face. Okay. So hold on. We'll talk about the uh, financial aspects of this coronavirus pretty shortly. Thank you.